After 19 years, what really happened to Silene Eady? Silene Eady, also known by her peers as Erica, Silene grew up in Columbia, South Carolina, in Richland County. Richland County is an urban area in Columbia with a population of 418,307 people, so it's a pretty big area. Silene was born August 14th, 1988. She's in Leo. She was adopted into a tight-knit family at the age of 3 with her 2 siblings, Eugene and Destiny, to their adoptive mother, Brenda McCoy, and her adoptive father, whose name was not actually in any sources, but he passed away when Silene was 5 years old. She spent her early years in the foster system, but despite her tough childhood in the early years, Silene was described by her loved ones to be a caring youngster with a wonderful spirit. According to her mother, Brenda, Silene loved to do a lot for her parents, such as cooking for them and greeting them with her little brother in a suit at the door. She had interest in art, music, and writing. She was known throughout her community. She was friendly towards neighbors and sometimes chatted with them. In her early teenage years, Silene was like any other child going through puberty. Her interests began to change. The changes were due to her adoptive father passing, and it was devastating for her after her father passed because her and her father were really close. She attended Dreyer High School. She was referred from there to Alton Wilkes Youth Service School, a school for risk youth. Silene started engaging potentially in bad and dangerous behavior. She started falling into the wrong crowd. She was getting rides from men she didn't know and also running away from home. Her mom, Brenda, was quoted stating she knew Silene fell into the wrong crowd of people, so she knew something wasn't right. Despite all of the things Silene were doing, she was still a wonderful teenage girl. She also kept herself up from what her peers described at 15 by keeping her hair done and always being well dressed. She was in junior ROTC and still loved art. People that was around Silene stated that she oozed confidence. On the day of April 15, 2004 would be a devastating day for Silene and would be the last time her family would see her. Silene leaves her home at 7:30 p.m. at the residence of 716 Fountain Lake Road. Erica walks from her home to a neighbor's house who lived around the corner. She was last seen by a neighbor who told her mom, Brenda, that she was wandering off. Brenda tried to get more information from Silene on where she was going, but Silene brushed her mom off. The upcoming next day, Silene didn't return home. Due to Silene frequently running off, no one was really worried, but she usually returns home. By the evening of April 17, 2004, her mom calls the police to report her missing. But on the same day of the report being filed, at 5 a.m., Richland County Fire Department were called to a brush fire. A person who wasn't named was driving on the outskirts of town on the intersection of Pincushion Lane and 378 Montgomery Lane, called the fire department. Once responders got to the scene to actually work to put the fire out, they actually noticed it wasn't a brush fire, it was something more sinister. She was laying face down in a wooded area. Fire officials noticed she experienced severe trauma to her body. When detectives were notified about the fire and Silene going missing, they had an idea that it would be Silene, but they weren't in fact sure. "19 years later, and no one still knows what happened to Silene Eady, aka Erica Eady, Part 2. On April 19, 2004, 4 days later, it was confirmed that the body was in fact 15-year-old Silene Eady, aka Erica Eady. It was confirmed through her dental records and a necklace. The necklace was identified by her mother, Brenda, once she was called to the MEO, the medical examiner's office. Brenda was quoted stating she knew it was her daughter because the necklace of a shoe Silene wore every day. Silene was a victim of a horrific crime. Silene was severely beaten and burned alive. Medical examiners stated she had soot in her lungs at the time of her death, so likely she was alive when she was set on fire. Gary Watts was an ME that examined her body, but also some sources couldn't confirm if she was really still alive when she was burnt. By the time of the identifying of the body, the case of a missing girl was shifted into a murder investigation. There weren't much evidence at the crime scene. There were tire tracks, but it wasn't admissible for the investigation. Investigators believe that the killer or the killers set Salene on fire to destroy evidence. Around the time of the murder, investigators indicated that the Sheriff's Department did a roadblocks, ran driver's license, gone door to door, even worked with churches to find out who killed Salene. But no arrests were made and leads started to run dry. By late 2005, the case was turned over to Richland County Cold Case Unit. In 2015, there were still no leads to the case as it was assigned to Dottie Crones. Dottie Crones was an investigator. She has worked to get justice for beautiful Salene and her family. Brenda, Salene's mom, hoped to one day her and her family would get closure. In an interview, Brenda was quoted saying, "I am waiting for whoever did this to be caught and punished." Law enforcement believe the killer is someone she knew or is likely responsible for her murder, and they think someone in the community knows what really happened to Salene. No one still till that time tried to reach out or even try to give any type of lead on what happened to beautiful Salene and why someone really wanted to hurt her. Salene's mother, Brenda, kept her ashes till what would have been her 18th birthday, and she buried her ashes near her father's grave. As of April 30th, 2020, Brenda passed away before even receiving any information about what happened to her daughter or anything on the case. As of today, the question still remains, what happened to Salene? What did Salene do after leaving home? Who did she see? And who killed her and why? Why would someone want to hurt her? These questions still remain due to the investigation still being a cold case and still being open to investigators.